Okay, this is topic 9.4. We're going to work with proofs using side, 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 side angle, side, and angle, side, angle. And these proofs, we've already got the boxes ready for you to fill in your statements and your reasons. Just remember that the first box is always restating the given information. So we're going to start with the first given information. B is the midpoint of AC. That's given. If you ever are given the word midpoint, you're going to need on step 2 to do the definition. So I already know that the definition of midpoint will be my reason for step 2. And then when you know that if you look at your picture, if B is in the middle of AC, I'm going to go ahead and tick mark the picture. If B is in the middle, that means that AB, the segment AB, is congruent to the segment BC. Now look at the next given information. Let's go ahead and copy that one. BD, this symbol means parallel to AE. So that's a given, so you get to write given. I think I'm going to show you when you're going to, in an algebra problem, there's always arrows on the lines that are parallel. Look at the numbered angles. This is a transversal that's showing you that these lines are parallel. So angle 1 has to be congruent to angle 2. Those are called corresponding. That's a word just that you use when two angles are in the same position on the transversal. So just kind of think of that angle sliding down into the other one. That would make it equal. The last given information is BD is congruent to AE. And that's another given. Now, it's kind of a hint that we're almost done because we're on the last part of our box. The very last statement will be what you're proving. So ABE is going to be congruent to the triangle BCD. Now remember, we've got to use one of the three congruents that we've already learned: side, 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 side angle, side, or angle, side, angle. On this one, look at your congruents. This one's a congruent statement, this is a congruent statement, and so is this one. So we have two sides and an angle. So this one, when you have two sides and an included angle, that means, wait a minute, I forgot to mark it. BD is congruent to AE. So here's our side angle side. That's the reason these two triangles are going to be congruent. All right, let's go to example 2. The picture has two triangles, and we're going to prove that triangle AYB and AZB are congruent. This symbol right here means perpendicular. I think I'll write that up here. Perpendicular just means they're going to create a right angle. If you want to use a right angle box, you can. That means since BA is perpendicular to YZ, you can write a right angle box. Let's start with that one. In your statement side, go ahead and copy the given. BA is congruent to YZ. That's a given. Angle 2, actually both of them, angle 1 and angle 2 are going to make right angles. That's just the definition of perpendicular. Oops, perpendicular. And if they're both right angles, that means they're congruent. So that means angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. And that's just the definition of congruent angles. Alright, look at the next given. This one is that BA bisects the angle YBZ. And the word bisect, oh wait, BZ. That's another given, but because it's using the word bisect, we have to do the definition of bisect. Bisect just means it divides into two equal parts. So if we're dividing an angle into two equal parts, and here's the angle that's being divided, I'm going to go ahead and tick mark these two. That means that angle 4 is going to be congruent to angle 3. That's definition of bisects. Now the shared side that both triangles have is AB, so we know the segment AB is congruent to AB, and that's going to be just the reflexive property. I'm going to go ahead and tick mark that. That would mean that the middle line, AB, is congruent on both triangle AYB and triangle AZB. So we're on our last step. We get to prove that the two triangles are congruent. AYB is going to be congruent to AZB. And that's, if you look at your congruent statements, these are the three congruent statements. You have a pair of sides, a pair of angles, and another pair of angles. So we know we're going to be using two angles and a side, and look where the side is. It's between the two angles. So the side is between the two angles. That's called angle, side angle. Let's try another one. Anytime they give you a picture with the given and what you're proving, you always want to mark your picture. I think it makes it easier if you'll mark your picture while you're working the problem. And you do know that you always start with a given, so you can go ahead and write the word given, and then I always copy the first one. And after you copy the first one under the statement side, go ahead and mark it on the picture. With a tick mark, I'm going to mark BA and ED congruent. This means parallel. That's another given, so we need to copy it. BA is parallel to ED. Parallel means we can put the arrows on it to show they're parallel, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to put a little arrow on BA and ED. Now they probably are telling you parallel to do something with the angles. Since these lines are parallel, these could be called transversals that go through the angle. So if I wanted to mark A and D congruent, I have to give a reason for that, and because the lines are parallel, angle A would be congruent to angle D, and those are called alternate interior angles. This was taught in a previous chapter, so if you've forgotten it, come talk to me and I'll help you remember these. There's lots of different angle formations with parallel lines. Alright, looks like we have another given. C is the midpoint of AD, and that would mean, that's a given, that would mean the next line in I'm going to have to do the definition of midpoint. The definition of midpoint, if C's in the middle of AD, look where the picture is. C's right in the middle, that means that AC and CD are the same length. So we can write that as the reason, the statement for our reason of definition of midpoint. Okay, go back on your statement side and look for your congruence. We just wrote one here, here, and then the given one. So we have a pair of sides, and a pair of angles. So if we have a side angle and the angles included between the two sides, that means you're going to put the S's on each side of the A. So that's going to be your reason why the triangles are congruent. Just remember, you're always copying what you're proving as your last line. I think that's it. So go now and try some on your own.